And just while we're thinking about that, we saw that statement by Mr. Dele Momodu, didn't we?
Yes, and before I jump to that part, don't forget that the INEC Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Victoria Tamesi, also said in that statement yesterday that, so since the Labour Party is enmeshed in this kind of crisis, the matter is sub judice. They will continue to respect the cases in court, but that they will wait until the whole matter is determined. So that may suggest that, look, if the matter is not determined before the FCT era county elections are over,
you're not going to have any candidates, we're afraid.
And you know, we always hear politicians say, look, judiciary and politics, that sometimes they descend into the arena. But if politicians keep going to the judiciary to ask for a thing or two, how should they play? But look, at this point, we just need to ask, is there a political storm brewing inside the ADC? Now, there are accusations of aggression, whispers of imposition, and the tussle over the 2027 presidential ticket. Now, is this democracy at work or power politics in disguise? Well, Chief Dele Momodu joins us. He resigned from PDP, remember that, and now an ADC chieftain is also publisher of Aviation magazine. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program today.
Good morning, and how is Abuja today?
Okay, I think I didn't hear a little bit.
He's at how's Abuja today? It's 25 degrees here in Abuja.
We're hoping that the political temperature will not cloud the natural temperature so that we can survive, at least to say the least.
Yeah.
But we will have to ask you, I mean, you put up a statement recently about developments within the ADC. Some people coming with aggression. It appears as though you suspect that some persons are insisting on the presidential ticket or nothing. Could you give us a background to what you actually meant by the statement you released?
Well, I've released a series of statements in the past 2 weeks, and it's always a note of caution. I consider myself now an elder statesman, approaching 66. That is not a joke. And I've been in politics most of my adult life, following Chief MKO Abiola everywhere since around 1990, and till he contested in 1993. My worry is that the opposition is supposed to have a common enemy in APC. So our focus should be on how we will defeat APC in practical terms, not based on the emotion or primordial sentiments. It's a game of mathematics, and I've always been someone who is able to predict correctly the direction, the temperature, the tempo, the temper and temperament of politics in Nigeria. ADC came into being as a party of necessity. Therefore, our candidates must also be candidates of necessity. We've seen them elsewhere. The Republican Party jumped at picking Donald Trump. They could not because they love him, but because they knew that practically he is the one who will be able to return them to the White House. Remember that he was sacked in Ghana, where today President John Dramani have been practical. It's not about whether he's my candidate, he's my friend, he's my tribesman or not. Who is able to deliver Nigeria from one-party dictatorship that may actually blossom into a one-man dictatorship if APC continues to be in power beyond 2027. So that is the fear of a lot of us. And I noticed that instead of concentrating on fighting a common enemy, getting themselves into fisticuffs, our potential candidates because any of the people in ADC today could be a candidate tomorrow. So if you've already destroyed your own candidate in advance and possibly in arrears, then how is it going to be possible for you to dislodge a candidate, a sitting president, as voluminous, let me use that word, as Tinubu is? Anybody knows that Tinubu has no other business than politics, and is a game player. So if you want to play Brazil in soccer, you have to fully prepare and make sure that you play a game that he may not easily win. So Tinubu, right now, you must not take any chances at all. It's not about sentiment. I know that some of they are raring to go, and as far as they are concerned, their loyalty is to their candidate, and it should be to the party. So that is the reason why I issued.
So in other words, put it plainly,
I have met a couple of times with some of.
Okay, if I could just ask you, in other words, to put it plainly, this will be that you're referring to probably after the statements.
Yeah, go on.
The statement that came through for Peter Obi supporters, is that part of what you're referring to? That they say if he doesn't get the presidential tickets, they will back away from him, particularly Professor Patutomi.
You know, I shoot straight without any doubt. Yeah, yes, Professor Patutomi, he even called me yesterday. We spoke, we were friends, we were brothers, and he understood where I was coming from, and I also understand where he's coming from. But the truth of the matter is that the allegiance of every member of ADC today should be to the party. When we get to the bridge, we will cross it. Anybody who is a Democrat, because if you ask me, my problem with Tinubu is not even about the economy, it's not about the insecurity, it's about our democracy. I'm worried that one man will turn Nigeria to Lagos. That's my only worry. So for us to now begin to behave in like manner, because it will be tantamount to dictatorship for any of us, whether Atiku, whether Obi, whether Amechi, or whosoever we join tomorrow. For us to insist it must be me. Say, I will compete, I will contest, I will subject myself to the
oh dear.
I will support.
Well, Chief, it does appear that
that should be the direction to go right now.
Your audio is coming in and going out, but I just want to quickly ask you, isn't the statement a little premature? Because you're yet to actually get to, I mean, your party hasn't even brought out a timetable for primaries. And some people would say maybe this should come maybe a few days to the primaries, etc. But it does appear that it's coming way ahead, accusing certain factions of being aggressive and rambunctious. Do you want to speak specifically to what sides you are referring to on the one hand? And on the other hand, doesn't this also speak to the warnings that a number of people already gave about the ADC, that their major problem was going to be deciding who a presidential candidate was going to be, given all the people, you know, some of the very prominent people who had joined the party?
It is not a major problem, it's a minor problem. Once you join a party, you have no choice but to abide by the rules of the game. So I don't see it as a problem. It's always the initial teething problem of, oh, I should be the one. Everybody will fight for himself. I fought in PDP in 2022. I got 0. Those who had billions to spend still lost, so we were all losers. And we moved on, except one man who has refused to move on till now. That's in some wiki. Everybody moved on. So once you join a party, you cannot dictate to the party because there are options. If the party did not guarantee you anything before you join it, there is no way you can force yourself on the party. Nobody has such power. And I've said it, not Atiku, not Amechi, not Obi. When I talked about people being rambunctious, I was reading stories. I read one when someone was quoted as saying, why would the best of us always play second fiddle to the worst of us? What determines who is worst of us? And the people saying it were from the obedient, saying the best of us. In today, if you ask me, in ADC, there are prominent potential candidates. Number one on the list as of today will be Alhaji Atiku Abubakar because he was a vice president. So he has played at the highest level of being former vice president for 8 years. He started contesting the presidency in 1993 when he stepped down for Chief M.K. Abiola in Jos. Okay? The next person will be Chubike Rotimi Amechi, who has been Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly for 8 years. He's been governor for 8 years. He's been minister for 8 years. Then we will go to Peter Obi, who has been a governor of Anambra State also for 2 terms. So in that order, there are other people, but if you look also towards the north, you have Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, a man whose brain is so fertile. I respect his brain so much. And it's a brain box for our party. So I don't know where people got the idea of the worst of us. Atiku certainly cannot be the worst of us. He left power in 2007. He has been building his businesses, and God has blessed his businesses. God has also blessed him with good health. And so I don't know who was being referred to as the worst of us. So that first was my alarm. The second one was Patutomi, my brother, okay, who said if Obi does not pick the ticket, he will withdraw his support. For me, I told him plainly, that cannot be a threat to a party's new. A fledgling political party, you cannot in advance. If you wanted automatic ticket, then you can run almost as a private, you understand, candidate, where if you're on your own, so nobody will challenge you, form your own to come into a coalition. You cannot threaten the other potential candidates. We need the cooperation of everybody. That is why we call it a coalition. It's not a one-man thing. And Nigeria does not recognize independent candidacy. So Obi is a fantastic guy, phenomenal. But to now say he's the best of all of them, where you have the Atikus, where you have the Amechis, I think it's an insult on the rest of them. And so I needed to sound this a note of caution that please don't let us go this route. It's not going to augur well for our party. Right now, the APC, that's what we're waiting for, that there will be this Fuji house of commotion. And if we don't stop it now, that is what they are going to use against the fresh coalition. They are praying and fasting that we will be in disarray, we will be in total commotion, and we will never be able to agree on the ideals that brought about this coalition. But I am assuring you that thank God for the elders, because in the days of tribulations, you run to the elders of the house. And we have enough elders in ADC to help.
Okay, so all right, we keep losing the connection. It keeps fluctuating.
Focus.
All right, let me ask you, Chief.
Focus.
So, I mean, it will be a huge, I mean, the party will like it. The ADC will like that coalition to work. The supporters, the votes of both candidates merging or coming together to produce one strong force, that's certainly what the party will like. But if certain groups are already saying, well, if perhaps if P2P doesn't get the ticket, no, we don't think that we'll be happy with that. What would your thought be on those group of people who will stick to their guns? I'm talking about the voters now, who, if they don't see him get that ticket, they just may lose interest in voting for any other person who emerges in ADC. And if that were the case, it will certainly affect the advantages that your party may want to hope on.
I would love to have a Peter Obi pair up with an Atiku Abubakar based on the mathematics that I predict for 2027. But I'm also a child of destiny. I believe in destiny. What will Ike Abiola in 1993? He was expected naturally to be his running mate. He didn't get it. He went home quietly. Later, he won the governorship of the old Gongola, now Adamawa State. He won the governorship before he was invited to run with Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. And then he became vice president. If God says Peter Obi will be president or vice president, nothing is going to stop it. But my advice is that we must take one step at a time. If Jonathan, and we keep forgetting that former President Goodluck Jonathan is also hovering in the wings, he may still run. I don't know on which platform. So let's not take it for granted that it's a done deal, that once you have Peter Obi, then in must win. No, and if he loses primaries or what the candidate of the party that stage. So which means maybe at this stage, what I expect, what
All right, Chief,
I expect them to be saying is what they are saying. That is, but when reality dawns on all of us, if it does, but to support the eventual candidate of the party.
Okay, so as we wind down, you mentioned the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. Now, I mean, you do some political calculations and mathematics. What then happens if it turns out that there will be conversation that perhaps Atiku Abubakar, P2P, and maybe every other person in ADC should come together with PDP and step down for the former president to contest? What would your thoughts be if that were the case?
No, nobody will step down. They will all go through the ritual. Coming down will be tantamount to a coup. In a democracy, you don't need, unless some people decide on their own that, okay, I've realized I can't make it. But I wouldn't expect a man with formidable structures like Atiku Abubakar. The most prepared today in Nigeria is Atiku Abubakar. He's a game player, and God has blessed him with good health, great intellect, still educating himself and all that. I don't expect that we step down. And I don't think they will go back to PDP unless some people in PDP now want to join ADC. I don't see it.
And I think, Chief, that you have dismissed
to a party.
Chief, I don't know if you can hear me. I see that you have dismissed as primitive and primordial this issue of rotation, which some people still believe will still be at play come 2027. The fact that a number of people still believe it's still the turn of the South to produce a presidential candidate come 2027?
Do not waste my time on those sentiments because it is not constitutional. That is the arrangement of every party. That's why Buhari was able to contest consistently. That is why Atiku has been able to contest consistently. Only a foolish party will box itself into a corner and say, I'm thinking of zoning. You should be thinking of the numbers. Seek you first political power before you know who will be able to perform or not. What I expect to be top on the card when people are voting will be who is my person. That's how it works. Even in America, that's how it works. Nobody, all this zoning thing was introduced by people who were being clever by hand. They just wanted a way so that if you zone it to my side, then automatically it will be me. No, in 2027, I can.
Okay, Chief, just one more thing before you go. I know you need to run.
Tell you that a northerner would come out. It's Atiku. Yes.
Did your calculation take into cognizance that
no, I'm not.
Can you hear me? Okay, we seem to be having that challenge with the connection. Is it clear now? Are you there still?
I can hear you.
All right. Did your calculation take into cognizance?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. I can hear you.
All right, nice. Thank you. Did your calculation factor in this, what just happened, where the vice presidential candidate who was on the same ticket with P2B, that Ahmed, did not come along with him to the ADC? And by the way, he said yesterday that ADC are just disgruntled politicians.
He has a right to say anything. Very, very surprised about how he talks down on other politicians. He is free to contest, but he knows that today Labour is not what it was in the last election. And the reason he's aggrieved is that he go and pursue his own dreams, and that in that coalition he is not likely.
All right. Unfortunately,
I've not factored that.
Okay.
Should quarrel with him over that. I'm surprised you can't hear me. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. So I'm not bothered at all. Okay? I'm not bothered. He's an aggrieved person. He's like a jilted lover. You know, he ran with Peter Obi the last time. He would expect to run, but they should not turn themselves into serial contestants. Only serial contestants will not think about the larger picture. The larger picture right now is that ever before there was Dati, there was an Atiku Abubakar, a visionary man who saw Peter Obi as a star of Nigerian politics and picked him in 2019 against the wishes of some governors. They fought Atiku. Why would you pick Peter Obi? What's so special about Peter Obi? But he had that vision. And that is why I always tell the obedience that you
All right, Chief, I know.
Atiku something. He gave that. You should know that he's a man of vision. So,
okay.
Yes.
I mean, when you mention serial contestants,
I don't know if you are still hearing me, but me, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, we can, but
yes,
these questions keep coming up. When you say serial contestants, we want to see the bigger picture. But doesn't Atiku Abubakar have more series?
When you contest for the fun of it.
Yeah, but doesn't
politics is a game of mathematics.
Yeah, doesn't the former VP Atiku Abubakar have more series in the contest?
Just for the fun of it. No, you can't be contesting. I stop contesting now because I can see how voluminous the task ahead is. So why don't you join forces with those who have built the structures, built the platforms and have the requisite experience and exposure to be able to deliver at the polls. That is my position.
All right.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time this morning. Yeah, we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
So thank you very much indeed, and all the best to you, sir. All right, we will be back in just a moment. Don't go away.